Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about protein powders. Protein powder is a very common supplement that people will use in everyday life. It doesn't even necessarily have to be for the gym. There's a lot of benefits outside of just the gym that you might want to take protein powders for. But today I'm going to be talking about primarily two types of protein sources and three different kinds of proteins. So we're going to talk about milk proteins as well as vegan proteins and things like that. So the first thing I want to get into is the milk proteins. First, you have whey, which is probably your most common protein you're going to hear about, and you have casein protein. Whey and casein both come from milk, and to get these proteins, it's just a byproduct of making cheese. For whey protein, it's a byproduct of making cheese. So when you go to make cheese, you have milk, you add a coagulant, and it will separate out these curds, and you have this liquid that is whey. It separates the whey and the curds. And a lot of cheese manufacturers back in the day would just throw away the whey protein or the whey liquid because there was no use for it. Now, obviously, now that sports science has gotten more advanced and technology is more advanced, we understand that that is a valuable byproduct of making cheese is whey liquid. So of milk, of the milk protein, 80% of it's casein and 20% of it is whey. So going into the whey, we generally have two different types of whey protein, whey concentrate and whey isolate. And the difference between concentrate and isolate is basically the filtration process. So concentrate is not as processed as isolate or filtered or wherever have you. It's just filtering out more of that lactose and more of your fats and things like that. So concentrate is 80% protein, 20% fats and carbs. It's one reason why it's going to be your cheaper option because it's not filtered as much. It's not filtered as much, as well as because it's higher in fat and things like that, carbs and fat, it's going to be a little more calorically dense. So I will get into later why there might be certain reasons for using concentrate over your isolate and things like that. But it's going to be cheaper options, but it is going to have higher levels of lactose. For those that are lactose intolerant, you probably don't want to go with a concentrate level of protein. And generally on protein powders, they will say if they're concentrate or isolate if you look into the labeling or the ingredients. And what's also very cool about concentrate is it has whey in general has a fast absorption rate, which again, I will get into this later on why you might take whey and then why to supplement protein versus eating protein and things of that nature. But next we're going to isolate. Isolate's 90% protein, 10% fat, carbs, and things like that. So it's a higher quality level of whey. It is filtered or processed further than concentrate, which makes it a bit more expensive, but it is going to be lower in calorie. And if you are lactose intolerant, it's going to be better on your stomach. If you are lactose intolerant, obviously people's lactose intolerant level varies. So there are some people that can't do milk protein at all, which means you wouldn't be able to use whey concentrate, whey isolate, or casein. You'd have to go with a vegetarian or vegan option depending on your tolerance level. For me personally, I take whey concentrate because I just have my tolerance for lactose is pretty high. I can't drink straight milk anymore. I used to be able to, but this year I can't drink straight milk anymore, but I can still do dairy. I can still do my whey concentrate protein powder, but I mix it with water instead of milk. And the absorption rate for whey isolate is going to be 1 hour. The absorption rate for whey concentrate, I don't remember if I said it's 2 hours. So the absorption rate is fairly fast. Within the hour of drinking it, you have the protein in your body that's beginning to be broken down for your body to use, which is going to be actually really important for what we're going to talk about later. Now, moving to casein. Casein is 95% protein. So casein is very, very, very high in the protein concentration, but that is going to make it very expensive. Generally, your casein proteins are going to be very, very, very expensive, but they are similar to whey and whey concentrate in calories. So it's going to be about as calorically dense as concentrate, but it's going to be a bit more expensive. But casein protein is probably, for some of y'all might not have heard of casein protein, but that's because it's not as popular as whey because casein protein is used for specific reasons because it has a very, very slow absorption rate. It's almost like a slow release type of protein. Its absorption rate is 6 hours. And so by absorption rate, I mean on average how long it takes for your body to digest. So if you drink a casein protein shake, it probably on average, obviously there's a bunch of variables, how much it is, how much you're taking, the serving size and your weight. But on average, you drink a normal, typical casein protein and you're not somebody that's taking crazy amount, you're not a ginormously huge person. On average, it's gonna take about 6 hours for your body to digest or absorb the protein from that shake. Same with the concentrate and the whey. The concentrate takes you about 2 hours for your body to absorb it or digest it, and about 1 hour for whey isolate. Now, going to the plant-based proteins, you generally have two common plant-based proteins. You have pea proteins, which most of your vegan proteins are going to be pea proteins. So if you look on the ingredients, or you look on the back of the label, if you go to the ingredients, it should say pea protein, and that just means that it comes from usually yellow split peas is where that they harvest the protein from pea proteins. And then soy protein, we all know, comes from soybeans, and those absorption rates are about 4 hours for plant-based protein. And yeah, your pea protein is usually your most common. It's cheaper. And the plant-based proteins, they're going to be less calorically dense, obviously, because they're coming from peas and or soybeans. So the calories on them are going to be lower. And that means that it's just going to be less calories. There's going to be less, I don't want to say less nutritional value, but it's going to be less calorically dense. And I'm going to go over why that stuff matters when it comes for you deciding what protein powder works best for you. Now, the question becomes, why supplement whey protein, or why supplement protein at all? Right now, I'm just talking about protein as a whole. Well, whey protein or protein powder have great amino acid profiles. And I'm also going to go into things as to why you would want to supplement instead of, or supplement with eating proteins. Because a lot of people will say you don't need protein shakes, just make sure you eat the right amount of protein in your diet. You could just eat all your protein, which they have some points. There have been some studies that say that supplementing protein is just good in general. There are some benefits, but I don't want to get into that. But for the average person in normal situations, if you need to eat 100 grams of let's say you go to a nutritionist or you go to your fitness coach and he does your macros, you need 100 grams of protein. If you eat your 100 grams of protein, you'll be fine as long as you're hitting your overall number. For certain people like me, for example, which I'll get into details later, eating the amount of protein I need straight food wise, it's not unrealistic, but it is tough. It's hard for sure. But anyway, good amino acid profile. What that means, amino acids, your proteins, the building blocks of the proteins are the building blocks of a lot of things that your body needs to function for recovery, for your immune system, for your blood cells, all this stuff. It's all made out of proteins. Well, the building blocks of proteins are amino acids. And when you drink protein powders or protein shakes, that protein gets broken down into the amino acids and they go to where they need to go for you to produce proteins and things of that sort. So amino acids, they build muscle. Everybody, even if you don't want to be, a bodybuilder, everybody needs to make sure that they take care of their body and make sure they have the muscle mass necessary for them to do average everyday functions, as well as having higher muscle mass or at least being leaner helps with your longevity and higher quality of life. As you start to age, your muscle mass kind of will help you to keep you structured and keep you having the durability to be able to walk around without assistance as you get older, things like that. As well as recovery. Drinking protein shakes help with recovery. If you're even if you're not even a weightlifter, you're an avid runner, you live a very active lifestyle, or even if you're just recovering from injuries. Remember, if you have an injury, a lot of this stuff that gets rebuilt comes from amino acids and proteins. So drinking a protein shake regularly or consistently can help you with recovery and things of that sorts, and just quicker absorption rate. So the absorption rate of it, obviously we're talking about the whey concentrate and the isolate. If you're you do a workout and you want to get the protein in your body immediately or faster, you would want to drink a protein shake because the absorption rate is going to be a lot faster because your body will break down the shake and take away the nutrition from the shake faster than they would eating a steak. if that makes sense. So it takes your body longer to digest and break down and process the steak than it would just drinking a protein shake that say being that it's in its liquid form. Concentrate, remember, is 2 hours on average, and your whey isolate is going to be about an hour. So by the time you finish your workout, if you take a protein shake with you, you down your shake. By the time you get home, shower, yada, 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 go about your day, bam, you've already gotten those proteins into your system, or those amino acids into your system, working on the recovery, working on building back those muscles and things of that sort. I'm going to go over what I do personally in my everyday supplementation when it comes to protein powder and why I have mine set up how it is. But I also do want to make sure that we're talking about supplementing protein and not replacing. I don't believe in the whole idea of meal replacements. It depends on who you talk to. I'm not a meal replacement guy in the sense of I don't think you should just replace your meal with a protein shake. If you're talking about replacing a bunch of meals, and this will kind of make sense as I go on later into the conversation, but we're not talking about if you're getting the majority of your protein from shakes, that might be a problem. You still should be eating 3 solid meals a day and then supplementing in between some snacks. Instead of eating a bunch of snack food that's high in carbs, high in fat, you could drink a protein shake to where you're getting your protein and you're still going to be able to hit your caloric numbers. Whether you need to do a lower calorie protein shake or a higher calorie. And that's going to get in what we're talking about later. And I have a section on how to use the different kinds. I'll talk into that stuff. And then that just goes into making sure you're hitting your macros. Every human being on this earth should be counting their calories. I don't care who you are, what you do. You could be not active at all. You could be a 7-time junior Olympian or a 7-time Olympian gold medalist. You could be a powerlifter, bodybuilder. I don't care who you are. You need to be tracking your calories. As a human being, you need to know what you're putting in your body every single day and how much you're putting into your body every single day. Even if it's a cheat day, I track my stuff every day, even on cheat day, train day, testing days when we go to max out, because I'm actually maxing out tomorrow on squat. All of my stuff every single day. Even when I travel and I know I'm not going to be eating on the schedule I normally eat. I know I'm going to be missing my targets, but I need to see how much I'm missing my target that day. Because the days that I travel, go home, I drive home to Nashville. I live in San Antonio, Texas. It's a 15-hour drive. I know I'm not going to hit my calorie number that day, but I need to know how much I'm going to be off. So the next day, I might overshoot a little bit to kind of make up for that day. I'm not going to go crazy, but I just need to know, I missed my target by 1,000 calories. Okay, the next day, let me try to fit an extra shake in there to get to kind of make up for that a little bit. Once you miss that day, you miss that day, but you can do a little things here and there to kind of make up for it. Or if I know I'm going to be short that day on my protein, okay, let me get some amino acids in. I got powdered amino acids that at least help with the muscle atrophy or making sure that I don't break down too much muscle, or too much protein that day, because you can actually, I'm going to do a video on BCAAs because I don't want to get into it too much with this video. But supplementing BCAAs can help prevent the breakdown of muscles because you're providing your body with the amino acids needed to keep a positive protein synthesis or protein production or protein turnover rate, which means that you're building more protein than you're breaking down. You can do that with amino acids if you're not able to get the proper amount of protein in, or at least reduce the amount of protein that gets broken down by providing your body with those amino acids. And it's just like a powder that's like a juice. It's like a drink. So it's not like a whole meal thing. But anyway, everybody needs to be counting your calories. Every single one of my clients, I make them log their food. You need to know how much of what you're eating. Anyway, moving forward to how to use different kinds. So I'm going to go over the key points from all three, and then I'm going to explain to you what I mean. So first, for whey, obviously got a quick absorption rate. It's great for post-workouts. Depending on who you are, it could be great for breakfast. And isolate is just the most effective across the board. If you have an isolate, it's probably the most versatile. You can use it for whatever. It's low in calorie. It's high in protein. It's low in lactose and the fat carbs. So if you might want to try a scoop. If I were you, try a scoop of whey isolate with water. If you are lactose intolerant, if you're mildly lactose intolerant, you're probably fine. If you don't know how much your tolerance is, try a scoop with some water And, I mix in a banana and some peanut butter to kind of make it a little bit thicker because I don't like mine as thin like that. And then see how you feel. If that's still too much, then just go to the plant-based proteins. Plant-based proteins, you'll be fine. And then, so the plant-based proteins, the vegan proteins, similar to whey, but slower absorption rate. So moving forward, when I talk about whey and just casein, I mean whey and in parentheses vegan protein. Because if you're somebody that's vegan, a vegan diet, or you're extremely lactose intolerant, you can just put vegan into that whey section when I talk, because your only option is the vegan protein, but you can use it similarly because that's the closest you're going to get. I do believe pea protein absorbs faster into the body because it takes less to break down. I'm not 100% sure on that one. When I was doing research, I didn't look into that, but I'm almost positive the pea protein is going to be your more efficient, better quality of protein. It's going to be your pea protein instead of your soy. So you might want to look into that. But dig into that if you gotta stick to the vegan proteins. Casein, however you want to say it, slow release, depending on who you are, could be good for breakfast, but it's primarily used as a before bed type of protein powder. And so now I'm going to get into kind of what I do. I wish I had my phone so I can pull up my macros, but it's on the charger. Anyway, I have it memorized, I believe. But for me, I eat 3 meals a day. My breakfast, I'm not a breakfast eater. So I know a lot of people that struggle, they're not breakfast eaters, but you can make a protein shake. You need to have something when you wake up. Because when you go to sleep, breakfast is literally called break fast, which you're breaking a fast that you have when you sleep, because you're going 7 to 9 hours, however many hours of sleep you get. You're going that long without eating anything. When you're awake, you're not going to go 7-8 hours without eating. You shouldn't go 7-8 hours without eating. But you're breaking that fast. So it is vitally important to make sure when you wake up, you get something into your body to start, get your metabolism going, start your day. So I drink a shake. Now, my shakes, I am a weight gain person. I'm trying to gain lean muscle mass. So I'm trying to be in a caloric surplus, which means I'm intaking more calories than I'm burning throughout the day. So my macros are 4,300 calories a day, 230 grams of protein. I weigh right now approximately 210. I'm 208 and some change, but I'm approximately 210. So I'm getting a little bit over a gram per pound of body weight, which the rule of thumb is anywhere from like 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound. Don't worry about that. That's something you should go to somebody if you don't know what you're doing to get that done for you. Or if you download my app, IV Fitness. If you follow me on Instagram, Coach Strib, go to link. It's the easiest way to get to that. I actually have my app can do all that math for you. Based on what we're trying to do. Anyway, I'm trying to gain weight, so I'm high protein. I do 145 grams of fat, and I have 560 grams of carbs. So high carb, high protein diet. And when I wake up, I drink my shake. My shakes are pretty dense, but I make them dense. So the protein I use, it's whey concentrate. So it's 110 calories, which isn't crazy high. It has 22 grams of protein and like 3 grams of carbs. And I put in my shake, but I add 2 scoops of peanut butter, which is about 200 calories. I add some Hershey's chocolate syrup. I add a whole banana, anywhere from 8 to 10 ounces, or 8 to 10 ounces banana. So I make my shakes, when it's all said and done, it's about 760 something calories. So I make it a high calorie protein shake because I'm basically using it, quote unquote, as a meal. Even though I said earlier, I don't believe in replacing meals. What I mean by that is I don't think you shouldn't have the majority of your protein coming from shakes. That's what I mean by that. But my breakfast is a 760 calorie shake. Then the next meal I eat is later in the day, but I eat a regular meal. I just get protein, carb, fruit or vegetable, whole foods, protein, carbs, and a vegetable. I have that. Then I eat another meal later in the day. So it's kind of like a right at lunch, so 11:30, 12, and then an early dinner. So then right around about 4. So somewhere around, it's about 4 hours apart. I eat another meal. Then what I'll do is about an hour and a half or 2 hours before my workout, I drink my second shake. The reason why I do that is because I want a surplus of amino acids / protein into my system as I get into my workout. Some people like to drink it after. Some people like to drink it before. Some people, however it does. There's not any crazy scientific evidence that says one's better than the other, as long as you're getting consistent protein throughout the day. If you're doing that, then take it before or after doesn't really matter. For me, I don't do it after because I eat dinner right after my workouts. So it's not that I'm not getting any protein after, but I go home and eat dinner as soon as I get home from my workout. And I'm taking concentrate, about 2-hour absorption rate. So I drink my shake right around 7 p.m. and my workout I usually start around 9 p.m. So that way, right at my workout start time, I have my body's processed the shake. I got the amino acids in my system. So when I start my workout, I have these bioavailable amino acids to make sure my protein synthesis is activated. Protein synthesis is just in a state where your body is building protein. And so I get my workout done, I come home, and then I eat. And it's usually a meat, vegetable, or a meat, a carb, usually a baked potato or rice or something like that. A meat, a carb, and a fruit or vegetable. And then I go to bed. Now, some people say don't eat too late. Again, you're going to have to figure out what works for your body. For me, eating that late, because I eat and I go to bed. I eat right before I go to bed. That doesn't bother me. I still sleep fine. My sleep's been good. I have no stomach issues. So again, you might want to tailor it to how it works for you. It's not one size fits all when it comes to these kind of things. Figure out what works for you. This is what works for me. But that's why I do what I do. So I have a concentrate. It's a little more calorically dense. Your vegan proteins, a lot of them are under 100 calories, maybe right at 100 calories. But that's kind of how you have to set it up for yourself. Maybe you do a whole food breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You eat food, and then maybe your snacks in the middle are like some light protein shakes. However you got to do it. But for something like that, you might want to sit down with a dietitian, a nutritionist, or somebody that's adversed in this type of realm and figure out what works best for you and your schedule. Because for me, I work during the day. So the reason why I work out so late is because that's the only time I have to work out is at 9 o'clock at night. So that's why I don't want to drink a shake right after my workout, because then I'm not hungry when it's time to eat dinner before I go to bed. Or if I drink a shake before bed, I usually wake up in the middle of the night starving because it's usually not enough because, you go through it so quick. But again, that's where casein could come into play. If you're somebody that's trying to lose weight, you can wake up in the morning, drink a casein protein shake. It makes you feel fuller and it will last you longer. So you can drink that shake in the morning for breakfast, and you might skip lunch and not eat your first full meal till maybe a little bit later in the afternoon or something like that. Or maybe if you wake up, depending on what time you wake up, you can drink a casein shake in the morning, and then you're good early in the morning, like 6, and you're good till lunch, till about noon, right? But as long as you're hitting your calorie goal. I'm not saying you should drink a shake, only drink one shake and then one meal for the whole day and be starving yourself. That's not what I'm saying. But you can drink a casein protein shake, get your protein in, and kind of curb your appetite to where you're not overeating if that's something that you have a problem with. Or the flip of that, what I actually used to do is before I go to bed, I would drink a casein protein shake. Again, 6-hour absorption rate. So while I'm asleep, there's still protein slowly being released into my body. So I'm still getting that protein availability as I'm asleep and I'm no longer eating. And then by the time I wake up, I own 8 hours of sleep. So 6 hours out of 8, it's taken up a good amount of that time that you're asleep, that you're still getting that nutrient slowly being released into the body. That's one way that people will do to gain weight, because you're just getting a lot of protein, a lot of nutrients into your body as you sleep. But those are some ideas that people have used for casein versus whey. And remember, I say whey, if you're in that vegan category, you can just put it the same place there in terms of how to use different things like that. So that's pretty much just some ideas. Now, if you hear something about the slow release that you think is cool for you, maybe you eat early in the morning and then later in the afternoon you want to not eat as much, you can drink the casein protein shake, hold throughout the night, and then maybe have a small dinner before bed. You can get creative with the stuff as long as you know how many calories you need to eat and making sure you're hitting those numbers but not going over. But don't be severely under. If you're somebody and you're only eating 700 calories a day, that's a problem. I mean, unless you're tiny, that's a problem. That's not something that's sustainable long term. You could actually, run into some problems. But just to let you guys know about that. And last thing I want to say before I close out, some things to look for when it comes to supplementing protein powder. One, you only really need 20 grams of protein per meal. That's all you really need to aim for, or not meal, per shake. So if you're looking at the back label and it says 60 grams of protein, you don't need all that. For the average person, you don't need all that. People that need that, they know who they are, and they're probably not going to watch the video because they don't need it. But for the average person, you need 20 grams of protein. 18's fine. If you're intensively active or you're thinking about getting into the gym and really getting some gains, you need at least 20. At least 20. 20, you're good, because you want to keep your body in protein synthesis. And for that, to start that, you need about 20 grams. Obviously, it depends a little bit on weight, but you need about 20 grams per meal, at least. Another thing, be careful with mass gainers. Mass gainers are these protein powders that they'll say, oh, you'll gain all this weight taking this, and there's like 4 solid scoops. It's 60 grams of protein. It's 500 calories. Be careful. I personally shy away from that. I tried mass gainers once. I don't like them. They actually will upset your stomach because there's so much protein and so much stuff on your stomach at once. It'll upset your stomach. It's just, at some point your body can't process. So at some point it's too much. 60, 70 grams of protein, that's just too much. And again, you can get creative like I did. Well, mass gainers, you'll have mass gainers that have 60, all this protein and be 600-700 calories, but it's too much. Versus, like I described to you guys earlier, I make my own protein shakes with water, banana, peanut butter, chocolate syrup, and my powder. That's 760 calories, but it's only, I believe mine's 20 plus, so it's about 30 grams of protein. Between the peanut butter and the protein powder, it's about 30 grams of protein. And stomach is cool. Stomach is fine. I have no problems with it. It's not, and not only that, but these maskers, they're expensive. A regular thing in maskers, you're talking, you could run you anywhere from 40 to 50 bucks. And you look at the servings on it and it says there's only 10 servings in it, because you need 4. It'd be this big bag, takes 4 scoops per serving, and then only say it only has 10 servings. So you're spending 40 bucks on 10 shakes. That's not necessary. The protein powder I have, it's my own protein powder. It's 30 servings in a 30 servings in a container. I do 2 shakes a day. So one container lasts me 2 weeks. It's 30 bucks. 30 bucks for basically, for some people only need 1 shake, 30 bucks for a month. You're spending about $1 on a shake. But those are things I want to look out for. If you do have upset stomach when you take shakes, look at how much, do the math and look at how much you're taking in. It's usually because it's too much protein for you. Or, if you're lactose tolerant, maybe you have a concentrate, maybe you want to try isolate, you want to try a plant-based protein. Think about things like that if it does mess with your stomach. And then watch out for carbs and sugar. Some of these protein shakes that claim to be very good, look at their carbs. If their carbs are through the roof, 30 plus, now again, you gotta know what you're doing. For somebody like me, carbs is good. That's why I add a banana. That's why I add my peanut butter, because I'm trying to actually add carbs, because I need high carbs diet to put on lean muscle mass. But if you're somebody that's trying to lose weight, you don't want to have a ton of carbs, especially a ton of sugar in your shakes. If your shakes have 60, 50 grams of sugar, then you don't want that. You don't need that. You don't want that unless you know what you're doing. And that might be, for some people, they need the high sugar, high carbs. If you fall into that category, go ahead. But for the average person, you don't need high carbs, high sugar. Or it'd be easier, and during the high carbs, high sugar, they're more expensive. So what I do, I buy cheaper the low carb, low sugar protein powders, usually cheaper, and then I add it myself because it's just be cheaper longer. A can of peanut butter is $2, bananas are 50 cents a banana, and the protein powder is 30 bucks. So it's a lot cheaper to just buy the better protein powder and add the stuff yourself instead of trying to buy it pre-added, because then it's way more expensive. But I hope that made sense for you guys. If you are watching this on YouTube, go ahead and comment on what your schedule is in terms of supplementing your protein, which protein you use, and what's worked for you, and what's not worked for you. But hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys later.